In the dictionary, tennis is defined as, quote, a game played on a rectangular court by two players or two pairs of players equipped with rackets in which a ball is driven back and forth over a low net that divides the court in half. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is World Court Tennis for the TurboGrafx in a nutshell. It's an extremely early game for the system and simulates a real game of tennis. In fact, after hitting run on the title screen, the options essentially follow that actual definition as you begin by selecting singles with 1 or 2 players or doubles with 2 or 4 players. You'll also notice a quest mode, which we'll get into later. Next, you'll be taken to the player select screen. The best thing to do here is open the manual, as it does a really nice job laying out the strengths and weaknesses of each player. And they even tossed in some little extra comments, like, poor old Grant here, he's just a fightin' for his life. Then you choose the type of court, including hard, lawn, or clay, and trust me, the ball bounces differently on each. Then you indicate how many sets will be played per match, and finally, the game of tennis begins. Let's talk controls. The directional key moves the player around and controls the direction of the ball itself. You see, if you press a direction the instant a ball is hit, you can send it wherever you like. Both buttons can be used for the initial service toss, and then button 2 is soft strokes and button 1 is hard strokes. As with any tennis video game, it takes a little while to get the timing down so that you can accurately break a serve or even just hit a ball for that matter. And just when you get used to playing on the bottom of the screen, your character ends up on the top of the screen. That flip-flops the controls and let me tell you, confuses the hell out of me. Plus that smash move, if you can do it, it's satisfying as hell. Honestly, it's all somewhat straightforward, and after a little practice, you'll find the controls very reactive and very solid. The game also offers a few statistics available by hitting select or run. While fun to play, the look of the game is pretty average and leans into that early console sports game aesthetic. Your character has decent animation, but the background is dull. The characters back there don't really move except for the chair ump and the line judge. Aside from a nice explosion of color, the courts themselves don't change much at all. That is also the case for the sound. I mean, it's all very serviceable with racket noises and crowds cheering. I guess that's what it's supposed to be. But none of it really stands out. Luckily, the gameplay overrules the average presentation and is solid and quite fun. Not to mention, it's a nice showcase for that turbo tap accommodating up to 4 players. It's pretty darn fun with a bunch of friends on the court all at once. And that is that. But wait, there's more, and it's called Quest Mode. Much like Final Lap Twin, World Court Tennis has a quirky, fun, and unique little RPG stuffed into this turbo chip. Once upon a time, there was a peaceful, tennis-loving land. But one day, an evil tennis king appeared and made off with all the prize money that had been won by the people in tennis tournaments. On top of that, he used his evil followers to set up tennis courts based upon a membership system under which hardly any of the people could play? That son of a... But now, there is someone who can restore peace and tennis to the land, and that someone is you. It's all very Dragon Warrior-ish, with a simple overworld view as you search streets and talk to people, all for clues on the evil king's whereabouts. And you don't need to beat it in one sitting because the good king will provide you with a password. It's right above his... Wait, what is that? That's kind of odd. Anyway, the game will take you through a handful of different areas, as you can easily walk from Chicago to Paris to Toronto. Yeah. As you are roaming around, you will be randomly drawn into a battle, and it will take place on the tennis court. You can turn down their offer, although some will force you to play anyway. If you can beat the evildoer, you'll receive some money for the trouble. If not, you'll be sent all the way back to the beginning of the game. Good thing there is a warp available so you can return to areas you have already visited. The money accumulated can be used to upgrade your tennis racket, shoes, and shirt. You also have 6 bosses or henchmen to deal with at various courts spread throughout the game. Here you will play a full set, which means you'll eventually shift to the top. So getting used to both play areas is a must, making the core game a necessary practice for quest mode. Other things you can do: upgrade your racket size, bet on a tennis game, get a magic ball, find an inner tube. Wait, what's that there? Oh, never mind. I have to say, I enjoy the RPG mode, but you know, it's not flawless. The entire thing is pretty short. It doesn't take long to grind away and get enough money for upgrades, but it is kind of a shame that you can't sell your old items to help out. Most of the information in houses is pretty useless. There are things in the game that seem a tad unfinished or strange. I mean, what is this search about? I never could figure that one out, nor have I found it necessary to even use. And yes, even the quest mode is extremely average in the graphics department, but it kind of works here. This might look like Wolverine, but you ain't playing him on the actual court. Although I have to say, you will hear a lot more music in this particular part of the game, and it's quite nice. Whether you enjoy World Court Tennis will depend on A, do you like the core game of tennis and find this version fun to play? And B, do you think the inclusion of a small RPG is weird and stupid, or weird and kind of neat? Me? I get a kick out of this little game. There are no tournaments or extra options in regular play, but the RPG mode really makes up for it. If it looks fun to you, definitely give this one a try. Oh, come on! That's not even a password. World Court Tennis does a good job making it feel like a traditional tennis game while also including a strange little fun RPG into the mix. Even though there's not a lot going on, and most of the game presentation-wise is somewhat underwhelming, it plays well and has a fun personality. Now it's time to show that tennis king who the real boss of Tennis Town is. Now get off my court.